Welcome to the Athlete Insights Podcast, hosted by Yash Pad Day, a podcast focused on letting athletes tell their journeys in their sport. This podcast is presented by Boxed Water. Boxed water is better.
Welcome into another episode of the Athlete Insights Podcast. Today I've got my guest, Lee Sponseller. He's the assistant coach for Trevecca Nazarene University and for baseball. So, Lee, appreciate you coming on. And I know it's Thanksgiving. It's Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and it's hectic time now. This time of year and with the holidays. But I appreciate you spending time, man. And
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. I know we've been going back and forth for a while, and I'm
yeah.
glad we were able to finally connect and get on together. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. I really, we've been, like you said, we've been kind of going back and forth, but it's nice to finally connect and to be in that process. But like every guest I have, I want to take it back to kind of the beginning. So when you look at, when you first started, kind of being around sport, what was that age that you first started being around sport and really started to embrace sport?
Yeah, I've been around sports my whole life. I'm the
Okay.
I'm the oldest of three brothers, so
Okay.
I was kind of first to it. But we're a sports family. Both my younger brothers played college athletics.
Okay.
But man, ever since I can remember, I had a ball in my hand and was running
Hmm.
around the backyard playing wiffle ball and all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah.
for me, baseball, I played all sports growing up, but baseball was always kind of my first love. Every spring was my favorite time of year, and then
Yeah.
it wasn't until high school when I really transitioned into being a baseball only kid.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was always my first love, and my brothers and I we grew up playing. When the football season, we're outside throwing football, and basketball, we're shooting hoops, and so
Yeah.
been around sports my whole life. Long-winded answer of saying that.
And it's ironic. I think they mentioned you have two brothers. I think I went to high school with one of your brothers,
Okay.
Ted. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because I went to Mason High School. So
Yep.
it's kind of
Yep.
ironic the full circle here of
No doubt. Yeah. Mason
yeah.
comments are everywhere, man.
Yeah, they're everywhere. It seems like I see one even here, being in Lexington and that area. So, and you said you fell in love with baseball from the start. But you said you played other sports, and in that regard, what other sports did you kind of get into in your youth, and kind of how did that shape you as your youth getting into all these different sports shape you as a baseball player, when you were growing up?
Yeah, I played football, basketball, and baseball growing up.
Okay.
Limited football experience. I was a late bloomer. I hit puberty late. I grew late.
I
So I
see.
was always one of the smaller kids.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really till, end of my high school career, really into college is when I really kind of started growing into my body a little bit. So
Gotcha.
played basketball up until my freshman year of high school. And like I said, that was when I fully transitioned to baseball.
Mm.
What caught my eye on baseball was, it was my kind of my dad's favorite sport growing up.
Yeah.
Never really pushed me into baseball, but I don't know. I don't know why I liked it. I always loved swinging a bat.
Yeah.
I work with hitters now, so if
Yeah.
there's one place that I could be that I enjoy being, it's in the cages grinding with those guys. So
Mm. Yeah.
that can't play anymore, they coach. So
Yeah.
I love the competitive nature of baseball. I think what's interesting about baseball is there is no shot clock or time clock or anything. You got to kind of compete within the game, and everybody
Mhm.
gets a chance down to the final out.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of games within
Uh-oh. Lee?
that I love about the game now getting into coaching is just how much failure you have to deal with,
Hmm.
and which that's a pretty unavoidable part of life.
Yeah.
So it teaches you a lot about how to fail and deal with failure, and you can relate it back to some of our players, like a lot of
Yeah.
different aspects of their life that you're going to go through ups and downs, but
Hmm.
it's the guys who can kind of stay level headed and stay with it that rise to the top.
Yeah. Yep. And is there any, like you said, core memory from your youth in baseball that really stands out?
Man, when I was 12, going to Cooperstown,
Okay.
that tournament in Cooperstown always sticks
Yeah.
out as a really great memory as a kid.
Yeah.
I had a great time at Mason High School. We had a really great team, really great group of guys that graduated with me in 2013.
Mhm.
We weren't able to come through and win it all and win a state title, but
Yeah.
we did go undefeated up until we lost into the in the state tournament. So
Mhm.
pretty much every guy on that roster went on to play college baseball, and obviously very talented roster, but just a really good group of guys. We still keep in touch till this day. So yeah, and then transitioning to college. I mean, you know, great memories there as well. I mean, had a
Yeah.
great time at Ohio Dominican is where I started, and then ended
Yeah.
up grad transferring and playing my fifth year at Coastal Carolina. So can't say enough about both programs, both coaching staffs.
Yeah.
Really built into me as a player in person, and yeah, I mean, my career as a player was obviously something I looked, thought highly of, or else I wouldn't have got into coaching.
100%, 100%. And I'm always interested, like you mentioned the transition to college and from Mason high school, and I'm always interested in understanding the recruiting process. And we were talking off camera a little bit about how recruiting never stops. It's 24/7. But for you yourself personally, like you said you mentioned you went to Ohio Dominican and played there, and then you played your fifth year at Coastal. Can you talk about your recruiting process out of high school?
Yeah, it was very limited. Like I said, I was a late bloomer,
Yeah.
so I think coming out of a high school, I had two Division II offers,
Okay.
and one Division III offer.
Okay.
So wasn't a lot going on.
Mm,
I kind of when I was going through, it was kind of right before kind of the prep baseball report and the travel scene really exploded.
I got you.
So it kind of really mattered at that point in time, like what summer organization you were playing with, and
Hmm.
which coach had connections with certain programs.
Yep.
So yeah, for me, it was very limited, and it's absolutely exploded the exposure now.
Yeah.
Today, I mean, there's guys all over the internet, and you can find video
Yeah.
and dig on guys and get all kinds of information really easily. But yeah, I
100%.
would say my class and kind of those years prior or right after were kind of right up until the whole summer circuit and travel ball things kind of exploded.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And when you think about your time at Ohio Dominican and then your time at Coastal Carolina, can you talk about what did you learn from both of those programs that you now utilize in your own coaching from those coaching staffs that you now kind of bring into your own coaching frame?
Yeah, I think any college athlete would tell you is you learn a lot about time management once you get into college athletics, and
Yeah.
getting up to Ohio Dominican. Obviously, Mason runs as high a program as possible with Coach Gray and Coach Bly, who's still there today.
Yeah.
But when you got to balance class load and practice schedule is really ramped up because in college it really becomes year round.
Yep.
And then you don't have your parents looking over your shoulder at night, making sure you're getting your schoolwork done either.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really got to learn to balance your time, and
Yeah.
that was a great experience for me at Ohio Dominican. I had really great coaches, and
Mhm.
specifically for me, great older teammates that kind of took me under their wing and showed me the way.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would be, the player wouldn't have been the player or person that I am today had those guys not, look had they not looked after me and kind of taken me under the wing and showed me how to do things the right way.
Mm.
And then you transition into transferring to Coastal Carolina. I mean, that's a top 25 baseball program. I mean, they were in the College World Series finals last year.
Yeah.
I tell everybody that asks me, I went down there and got my master's in business, but I got a PhD in baseball.
Yeah.
Just learned the game at a super high level. Coach Gilmore,
Yeah.
Coach Schnall, a lot of those guys had been there for years.
Mhm.
They bleed teal and black. They played at Coastal.
Yeah.
They've been at Coastal forever. And honestly, had I not had that experience, I don't think I would have got into coaching.
Mhm.
Just to be able to see baseball at such a high level,
Yeah.
see how a top 25 program is run.
Yeah.
I got so much exposure firsthand to what all
Mhm.
that looks like, and fell in love with it as a kid. Like we talked about earlier, that's just loved baseball his whole life. To get to experience that at that level was really special to me, and that's ultimately what kind of got me the itch to get into coaching, and here we are.
Yeah, no, it's I totally get it. I coached high school ball when I was doing my PhD, the football, and I've gotten addicted ever since. So the
Yeah,
coaching bug really hits for me as well. So, Totally get that perspective. But you graduated and you've completed everything. You completed your college career before NIL, before transfer portal. I know you transferred to Coastal, but the transfer rules were kind of different back
That
back
was the
in.
only loophole back then, was being a graduate, that how you
Yeah,
would be eligible to play right away.
yeah.
It's the Wild West now.
Now,
It's certainly
so
not like it was.
oh yeah. So how does that, like, when you're recruiting, I know, in the recruiting side and all that stuff, how does like NIL or transfer portal, how does that play into your recruiting strategy potentially in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, being a Division II school, we don't do a ton with NIL.
Okay.
We have, being in Nashville.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be in a big city to where they do a good job of hooking our guys up with different businesses and providing them actual NIL opportunities.
Yeah.
But as far as having a collective and kind of the pay to play thing, and
Yeah.
we obviously don't do any kind of that.
Mhm.
For us, I think it really caters kind of towards my story being at this level. I mean, there's a lot of guys, a lot of really good high school players that are going under recruited because the Division I schools are so
Mhm.
heavy on the portal.
Yeah.
Um, and quite frankly, we've got a lot of guys that we've committed in the last month or two that in my mind, a year or two, 3 years ago, they're no doubt Division I players out of high school, and they're
Mhm.
falling through the cracks, and we're getting them because of the landscape has changed so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no, I think it's good. I mean, I think obviously if a kid gets in a situation where it's not a great fit or not a
Yeah.
great fit for his family, to have the opportunity to get out and not be penalized and be able to play right away is
Yeah.
certainly something that they need to take advantage of. But I'm also a guy that I don't enjoy having a roster turnover every year. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's still an element to this. You got to get the right guys on the bus and build a
Yeah.
culture, and that's the way you build a sustainable program over time, is really developing that culture, making sure you're
Mhm.
bringing the right guys in, even if it is for a year or two out of the portal to fill a need.
Yeah.
It's still got to be a guy that fits your culture and fits what you're looking for off the field just as much as they do as a player.
For sure. For sure. And it's the portal has changed like things so much. Like I look at the NCAA like portal site and everything. I see so many guys in there, and I'm
Yeah,
like, it's now it's like you're in this era, and I hate to say it this way, but you're in this era where kids want instant gratification, where it's like
for
if you're
sure.
not getting where you want to be, then transfer, and it's like
Right.
I totally agree with you. Like if you stay at a program long term, you can really embed yourself in that culture and really get your build that culture up and help that program in that regard. So I definitely agree on that regard with you.
For sure. And every high school kid I talk to now, I mean,
Yeah.
the common theme that comes up is they're looking for a place where they can develop.
Yep.
And that's something that, we really pride ourselves on in our program. It's because of the landscape, it's really hard to get on the field as a freshman.
Yep.
But with that being said, we're going to play the best players. If our best players are freshmen, they're going to be on the field.
Yeah.
But we kind of use the term like you work while you wait. Like we're not
Mm.
just, you're not playing, or you're not traveling with us or an everyday guy. You're not just off in the corner kind of doing your own thing. We're going
Yeah.
to be really hands on with you. So by the time the next year rolls around, you're ready to be a dude for us. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's something, like I said, we really take pride in our program, is we want to get those young, hungry guys in here and develop them and see
Yeah.
them turn into studs for us.
For sure, for sure. And before we end the podcast, I always like to ask guests to give advice to the younger generations. Coaches, we're trying to help the younger generation of kids coming up and doing all that. And so, when you're, if you think about it from a recruiting standpoint, when you're recruiting a kid, or if you're talking to young kids who want to get to a a top 25 program like you did, or who want to get to that level, who want to play collegiate baseball, what's one piece of advice or one skill that you look for that you tell them to work on, or you tell them to hone in?
Yeah, I would say from a skill set, I mean, just develop into the best possible player that you can be. I mean, there's a lot of metrics out there, but when it comes down to it, coaches are looking for how you execute and help them win baseball games. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of different ways you can do that. From a recruiting standpoint, I would just say, don't give up. If you got dreams and aspirations of playing at the highest level possible.
Yeah.
There's ways and avenues to get there that, you may not get there right out of high school.
Hmm.
But if you go to a program where you can develop and get bigger, stronger, faster, and put up
Hmm.
numbers, I mean, you never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, like, we use that as a selling point. Like, if our job, we feel like, is we want you to love it so much here that you never want to leave.
Yeah.
And we really try to push that with our guys. But that being said, if there's a bigger school that comes along and, gives you an opportunity and you feel like that's the best fit for you and your family, and that's a goal that you have, by no means are we going to hold you back. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna be your biggest fan and cheering
Yeah.
you on and following you. So no, I would say, I think a lot of young high school kids are getting discouraged nowadays with just how
Yeah.
things are in college athletics. And to be honest with you, there is always going to be an opportunity for you to go play if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And don't listen to anybody that tell you you can't do anything, or if you want to play and you want to put your work and effort into it,
Yeah.
you really are in control of your own career at this point.
For sure. For sure. That's such a great way to put it in terms of, you really own what you want, and you can kind of make your situation how you want it to be based on how you look at the situation and you reflect on it. So it's great insight in that regard. But that's all the time we have for this episode of the Athlete Insights podcast. Again, Lee, want to appreciate you taking the time. I know it was, like I said, it's it's the holidays and busy time of year with family and stuff like that. So I appreciate you taking the time and spending up and chopping it up with me a little bit with about your baseball career and coaching and all that stuff. So and I'll have your social media handles linked and everything linked, so you can follow Lee's journey at Trevecca and beyond, and then you can follow me and my podcast, and I'll have my handles and everything linked as well on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically everywhere you get a podcast, you'll find this one. So, Lee, appreciate you taking the time. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays as well. And I'll see you next time.